5.5 years ago, I made a joke video about Windows 10 reaching its end of life, and a new Windows version with an all-new NT11 kernel replacing it forever. In 2020, it was an April Fool's video. Back in the day, Microsoft said countless times Windows 10 will be the last ever version of Windows to be released. I might have been wrong about the all-new NT11 kernel, but I certainly predicted this day would come. As I'm talking, it's 3 days before Windows 10 reaches its official end of support date. It is the late evening of October 11th, 2025. I'm certainly mesmerized by the flow of time, particularly its velocity, and I wanted this video to be sort of a tombstone to an era we've lived. It's a milestone some of us hadn't reached, be it because of COVID, be it because of wars around the globe, any other reason. It's the decade in which we left our basic freedoms. Consumer rights.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day because I'm about to ruin it. Welcome to today's episode of How You're Getting Fucked. I'm your host, Louis Rossman.
Uncensored and unregulated internet. Artistic dignity has been stolen from us. The 10 years Windows 10 has lived for brought monumental changes to how we live, how we interact, and even how much we love and hate.
My experience with that was so positive, I started to just engage with her all the time. All right, we're building this PC.
Smith ditched social media and Google searches and replaced it all with AI.
Back in 2015, I didn't even make videos. I mean, I was trying to upload videos about cheeky geometry-secret ways, but I wasn't Enderman. And I wasn't even Ender's Show. I was in 5th grade. My great-grandma was still alive, and I was clueless about my future. Windows XP reached its end of life in 2014, just a year ago back then. Think about how much has changed during the Windows 10's lifetime, and how much we have primarily lost. They're like daylight. I can close my curtains and it's gonna be amazing. Windows 10 defined an era for me, much like Windows 7 did, except I don't have much to say about older times. I just don't have enough experiences from back then. The device I primarily associate Windows 10 with is the Acer Predator, the infamous beast I got in December of 2018. Since then, it has been replaced twice, which I want to talk about in a separate video. You might have noticed a new laptop made its way into my videos. Well, that's the guy I use now, MSI Vector. I got it last year now, oh my god. But it's the laptop I'll be associating with Windows 11, despite it being a natural successor to Windows 10. By that point, Windows 11 has become usable, thanks to Startleback, and the 4 entire years Windows 11 has been in post-release development. Do you feel old yet? And so, say hello again to Acer Predator, which I will be using for my everyday tasks until Windows 10 dies. I actually forgot how much I loved this design choice, and how I actually never used neither the trackpad nor the keyboard on the laptop because I used it as a desktop with external everything. Back then I was a fan of blue switches, until I tried buckling springs. I never looked back. So I have two options here, either a period correct blue switch keyboard that I actually used with the Predator, or the IBM Model M, which I did use a little bit with the Predator at the very end, just a couple months before I finally got a desktop. It's also around time when Predator started malfunctioning a little bit. I kept using it regardless, but it started showing I needed a replacement. If a fan replacement isn't that big of a deal, a broken RAM slot is pretty rough. The memory bank lid. Oh. I'm not that skilled to fix that myself, and that's probably because of poor soldering quality. The contacts must have cracked after so many years of use. Keyboard exception not handled. Both of these keyboards are authentic, so to speak, but I think I'll choose the older keyboard, because I believe it'll make me appreciate the springs even more. As for an external display, I think I'll pass on that. I just don't have the space on my desk anymore. Alright, the build is complete. And so, the first objective is to install Windows 10. Oh wait, it's already installed. Holy cow, that's actually the old install from I don't know when. I did reinstall a couple times, but it's the Windows 10 that I actually used before switching to the desktop. I didn't wipe the drive. That's awesome. That makes it even better. Let's see what I have to work with. The desktop is broken, so I did pull out the second drive. I've always had the system data separation on a physical level. The drive is probably in my desktop computer right now. The reason it's broken is because I store desktop items on the data drive, and the shortcuts you see are from the shared desktop. Those I try to eliminate when possible. I don't know why, probably OCD. There's a lot of legacy stuff like WireGuard, which was completely blocked in Russia per protocol in like 2023. 22H2 build, which does make sense. I kept using the laptop in the university until 2024, and when it felt like an eternity to do basic tasks like opening an IDE, I decided to finally upgrade. And when it was ultimately put on a shelf, I decided to disassemble the laptop and disconnect the display in order to capture the video from the graphics card directly. I intended to use it for experiments like Windows 365 on a real UEFI laptop with a goal to unbrick it. Unfortunately, that did not work and I just lost time. It's super interesting though how old laptops automatically redirect all the graphics output to the internal graphics card HDMI port whenever the display is disconnected. But not this one. It's really lame because that means I can't capture anything physically on this laptop. So all the footage I'll have to record on the laptop locally to then send it to my NAS and only then use it. So far it's the only outlier in my collection that doesn't work with capture cards. This is a shame, because I wanted to feature it in my videos. And the assembly of this laptop is really treacherous. It's as if they are trying to keep you out as much as possible. What could have been a simple unplug turned into an hour-long display disassembly. All because there is no connector and all the wires are soldered directly to the motherboard, and the only way to disconnect the display is to take it out completely. It's just so obnoxious, I hate it. And in the end, it doesn't even work. The most basic feature of an integrated graphics card. Pfft, why would anyone need it, right? And it's not documented either, so I went into this blind. There's no other option. So this is what I'm trying to convey. The further we go, the worse for the consumer the technology gets. I wouldn't be able to rant like this during the Windows 7 end-of-life video because that Acer laptop worked swimmingly, and it's very repairable, although a little poorly designed from the inside, to be fair. There was no ill intent there, unlike here, is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, the first day is coming to an end, and I'll try upgrading Windows 10 to its latest release using Windows Update. Maybe upgrade the apps as well, bring it up to speed basically. And generally prepare for the Monday, since I'm employed and I'm a student, unfortunately. It's probably going to spill over to the Sunday, but it's fine because I have this weekend sorted out. Such a challenge gets exponentially harder the older you are. Once I have kids, I bet you guys won't see an upload from me in like a year. It's just how it is, unfortunately. In the end, I stayed a little bit more and tried to make a dent in the upgrade process. It was the perfect opportunity because the weather was complete garbage, and it's not even funny. It was a heavy rain with obliterating wind. I successfully waited out the storm of Windows 10 updates being downloaded to that laptop and went to bed. The following day I spent installing IDEs, messengers, VPNs, editing configs, and just chilling. I did watch some YouTube, which went fantastic. Overall, the laptop was rather usable, albeit laggy at times. The performance decrease compared to my new laptop was noticeable, but it was just on the edge of being a deal breaker. Unplugged, however, it was totally unusable, which contradicts the idea of a laptop, but I never really used it as a laptop anyway, so that's a pass from me. Going in, I assumed the battery would be dead. I did have to replace the battery once in 2022 because it puffed up and died. An actual hazard 4 years into the laptop's lifespan. And while the replacement battery actually did lose in capacity, it wasn't as significant as I would have thought. It went from 20-ish% to 0 in a minute, but otherwise an entire hour of light work could be yielded from one full charge. For reference, the old battery, when the laptop was brand new, lasted an hour and a half at best. Which I did subscribe to, considering my use case, so it's perfectly fair. As the day had passed, I got pretty much prepared for anything the work week would possibly throw at me, and so I called it a day. Stayed up super late because the weather just kept deteriorating. From a heavy rain into a sparse wintry mix and even more annoying cold wind. I just couldn't sleep at a normal time. Multiply this by the fact I had to wake up at 7 that day. So I woke up, immediately locked in, knowing this would be one of the worst days I'll have in 2025, navigated through the source map. Notice how putrid the weather is. It couldn't get any worse for driving. Hop on the lecture, time to be productive. Guess what happened? I connect the laptop and there's no power coming in. My first thought is that the power outlet is bad, because we all know they're not particularly looked after. Try another one, still no luck. Another one, nothing. Ask my friend to plug in his laptop, it magically works. Well, there you go. There are two options, either the power brick is dead, or the power connector contact's cracked, which as we all know is rather normal for Acer laptops. I tried wiggling it around, connecting it from all the angles, and I got nothing. It doesn't work. Well, shit. I guess I have to use the battery now, and I have 2 lectures in a row. It's not gonna have enough power for 3 hours of writing things down and browsing the internet. The stupidest part is that it worked perfectly at 2 AM at home, then I pack it up, bring it here at 8 AM, and it doesn't work all of a sudden. What kind of luck is that? Should I just buy a lottery ticket? Still, it was unclear whether the contacts cracked, or the brick died, or maybe I was super lucky even, and both of these happened simultaneously. Anyways, luckily there weren't any urgent tasks on my jobs, because this knife into my back I did not expect at all. And the lectures were just filler content anyway, so there's that. When I got back home, I had to test the theory. Thankfully, I had a universal charger for most laptops, even though it's capped at 60 watts, and Predator consumes 180. Super interesting. It was just enough to check whether I would upload this video, aka it was a power brick, which I could potentially acquire somewhere in the city in a couple of hours, or I would go down with a ship, aka it was a charging port that completely unsoldered itself. Luckily it started charging and I didn't even care about the charger's position. The contacts were fine, so all I had to do was to source out a power brick ASAP, which I did in 40 minutes, and that's because I had to drive for it. The first laptop part supplier I called happily announced they have an original 180 watt Acer replacement brick. You know, literally hit a jackpot there. All in all, the Monday I spent replacing the power brick, working, and attending online classes. I also had a little bit of time to test game performance on the Predator after so many years, and the results weren't shocking. This laptop is history now. CS2 on medium settings ran at 40 FPS with occasional freezes, and it was unplayable. I think it's worth noting that I was recording while doing these tests as well. Forget the usual metrics, it's an Enderman video. It's a stress test primarily because I would almost always record my games, and because I couldn't connect my capture card. So it's pretty normal, it's all good.
HP rafters, 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 rafters. Ну, хотя бы одного с ножа забрал, уже хорошо, я доволен. Как крыша на крыше. Он перезаряжает. Отлично. Все, лаз школьничек где-то остался. На улице никого не было, когда я там был.
Hollow Knight ran pretty good on default settings and it was very playable, but the game is obviously older than the laptop, so it makes sense. I will try playing Silksong on it, but I'm not that great yet. I wanna beat Hollow Knight first. Clover Pit ran at 40 FPS. Now the question is, how does that run so horrid? I highly doubt it's a hardware issue, it's probably just super unoptimized. But it took me by surprise. And just so you know, I burst out laughing after this spin, because you can't make this up. I wouldn't pass the deadline anyway, so it's fine. And Geometry Dash, oh gorgeous. No question, it just works great, managing to run at full 144 FPS. And what you hear in the background is the mic of the Acer Predator. I don't remember it being that bad, but goddamn it sucks. Cover your ears. I think I always used an external mic with it. Nonetheless, I believe it's authentic you listen to how trash it sounds. I'm not even kidding, it took me one attempt. What the hell, dude? Dude, I have not played this game in so long. Why is this so easy? Good morning. Windows 10 has died. Today is October 14th. And I have this guy here. Well, I didn't make my bed yet, but it doesn't really matter. Just see if anything has changed at all. The weather cleared up, by the way. Was it the Windows 10 agony that was causing all the rain? Any notification? As you can see, October 14th, 2025. It's the end of life, end of support for Windows 10. Open VPN Connect. Okay, that's not what I expected. At least a notification. Is there going to be anything at all? I remember seeing the Windows 10 end of life notification online, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna spawn it here. Maybe it requires Windows Update to download things to run. Anyways, we'll see. Back to the video. Well, as I'm speaking, it is October 14th, and Windows 10 has indeed died. But there's nothing abrupt that happened. I didn't even receive a notification. But I'm assuming it's going to roll out gradually within the next few days. Windows Update is quiet as well, and that's pretty much it. Windows 11 has finally taken over. What's special about Windows 10's end of life is just how much more usable the system in question is at this point compared to Windows 7. Windows 7 was 10 years old when it reached its end of life, but so is Windows 10 right now. Windows 11 was released 6 years after Windows 10, and so was Windows 10. It was released roughly 6 years after Windows 7. And despite all these similarities, Windows 10 remains significantly more usable compared to Windows 7 back in 2020. I can't wrap my head around why that is, but maybe the hardware has improved exponentially while the timescale is linear. Honestly, I don't know what to attribute this effect to, but all I know is that Windows 10 is dead officially, while you can still get updates for so long. And in one of the next videos I'll show you how to use Windows 10 up until 2035 or something. There are ways to enjoy that system just a little bit longer. It's gonna live until the developers start dropping support for it, which I hope isn't happening anytime soon. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.